According to rumors coming straight from the San Diego Comic-Con, Starkiller is about to become canon again in Ahsoka Season 2. So it sounds kind of crazy, but a week ago, there were many insiders talking about how possibly Sam Witwer could come back playing Starkiller, Galen Merrick, in the next upcoming Ahsoka season because it would all correlate to the Mortis gods. Now, in the upcoming Ahsoka season, we know by Baylan Skoll that they are going for it. Baylan Skoll is about to unleash the Mother, which we had a lot of hints in Season 1, not only with Baylan Skoll, but also with Anakin and Ahsoka in the World Between Worlds. Previously, the Clone Wars and the Star Wars Rebels already established this Force mythology regarding these deities, but in a potential twist of what's coming, it's gonna be the introduction of Starkiller, Darth Vader's former apprentice that is currently in development. This way, you have Anakin in the middle as the father, and both of his apprentices, the light side apprentice in Ahsoka and the dark side apprentice in Starkiller, by his side. In Star Wars Celebration, even Dave Filoni kind of gave some remarks and hints during some interviews because he hinted at the incorporation of the character the Son into his storyline. We know who played the Son, of course, in the Clone Wars series, and that was indeed Sam Witwer. He actually played the Son before he even played Maul, so keep that in mind. Let's go back to Season 1. In the first season, Ahsoka has some visual cues that suggested she is going to become the daughter, one of the Mortis gods that embodies the light side of the Force. How do we know this? Well, by the ending of the show, she donned the white clothing. She actually became Ahsoka the White. So she is the embodiment of the light side of the Force. Then we go to Anakin Skywalker, who was formerly Darth Vader. He could assume the role of the father, overseeing both of his apprentices, Ahsoka and Starkiller, who embody the light and the dark side. What's even more interesting is that Anakin himself represents both sides, represents the balance because he is the chosen one. He actually did this in front of the father. He controlled with the Force, he controlled both the son and the daughter. Now, Dave Filoni is known for integrating elements into Star Wars Legends continuity and bring it over into canon. Now, there were several nods to Starkiller that appeared even in Andor, by the way. We're going to talk about it later on because there are many hints. This is not just a rumor. Starkiller was hinted at a lot during these past years. If we go to Sam Witwer, for example, he has downplayed his involvement in Ahsoka many times. He has been credited with providing the voice of the Son in the first season. He has been credited in the Ahsoka series, but for some other voice work. Some fans initially speculated that Witwer might have been playing the character Merrick, but as we learned, this was untrue. What we do know about Season 2 is that Dave Filoni revealed the first half of the season will feature a major war. Then, Hayden Christensen, we know that he is very involved with Season 2, so much so that he has been filming for a month now, and he will film throughout October. So this is like 5 months of shooting. This has to give you some sort of a confidence that he will be much more involved in Season 1. All in all, there's going to be 8 episodes planned. So if the first half, maybe Episode 3. By Episode 3 and the beginning of Episode 4, there's going to be a major war. We know that because Thrawn is now back into the main universe, into the main galaxy. Ezra Bridger is too. So they will probably fight. But back here, back on Peridea, Ahsoka is alone with Anakin's Force Ghost. And now, what Baylan will release, we don't know, but we suspect it's going to be the Mother. So this Mortis Gods thing could really be happening in Season 2, and this is the only way, I think, for Starkiller to legitimately, perhaps, come back into the fold. I know Dave Filoni would love that idea because he was really much involved during those times. Now let's talk about all the hints and all the Easter eggs that have hinted on Starkiller's return. Okay, so if we go by Andor Season 1, the first thing you'll notice is some hints and some Easter eggs where in Luthen's shop you can clearly see a Lord Starkiller armor fully visible, and I don't care what the excuse was. I don't care if it's a Utapau armor, ancient armor. I don't care about that. It was indicated specifically because of Starkiller. That armor is irrefutable evidence that it's an Easter egg from Force Unleashed video game. Sadly, those are legends, but with Andor, I think that we have so many hints that Starkiller could one day become canon, because they kind of make it a point. I don't know if Tony Gilroy is a fan of Starkiller, but it's not a coincidence with the second season. Now, the first season, as I said, the armor was a hint, was a huge hint, but in the second season, we have Pendergrass saying that the systems are starting to rise up to the tyranny of the Empire, and they're starting to be armed and mobilized and everything, and Pendergrass says that they're counting on it. So this is a clear indication that Palpatine, which has constant contact with Admiral Yularen, who himself contacts Palpatine directly. So, and the head of ISB, I would assume that he has some contact with Emperor Palpatine. So this all leads me to believe that it's the same game plan as we saw in The Force Unleashed 2. It was pretty clear in The Force Unleashed 2 that Palpatine and Vader orchestrated the start of the rebellion. This was the plot twist in the end of the video game, which we clearly saw as some ingenious move. Of course, it backfired in the end on Palpatine, but Leia, together with Bail Organa, adopted the same symbol used by Galen Marek for the rebellion. We get the origins of the symbol, we get the origins of the rebellion itself, and that in fact it was good for Palpatine for a while to excuse his way into a Death Star, into a space station that could destroy planets. So essentially tyrants giving them even more rights. This goes hand in hand with how Palpatine handled himself. He got emergency powers when he was Chancellor. This is how he became Emperor, and now to subjugate every single system in the galaxy, he gives himself even more power through a rebellion that is killing Imperial troops, or at the very least, resisting in some way or another. Our second point of the day, and the best one, bring a Legends character into canon. This has always been championed by the fans, and I don't understand why Disney and Lucasfilm don't actually, think this through more, because when has it ever been a downside for a Legends character to become canon? Even if you bring Galen Marek, aka Starkiller, back into canon, back into the fold, and I guess even if you can incorporate him as the secret apprentice that nobody knew that Darth Vader had, it still wouldn't affect the canon timeline. That's because nobody knew about it. Not the Inquisitors, and from the jump, not Palpatine either. He found out later on, but only Vader and Starkiller. This gives you a great TV show if they ever come into that. You see, the problem I have with Disney right now is that they're so focused on this future stuff, and rightfully so. I mean, an Avengers version of Star Wars is perhaps a great thing. I mean, the Mandalorian movie, Ahsoka Season 2, I think will feature so many great characters in one place that there's no other recourse but calling them the Avengers of Star Wars. But to counteract that, you need villains too. But this is grand scale stuff. If we talk specific isolated incidents or stories, Starkiller is just fantastic because it gives Vader... This is why I love The Force Unleashed. The gameplay, people focus on how the game went. I'm focused on the story. The story itself shows you a different side of Vader. To me, Starkiller always represented Luke Skywalker if Vader knew he was alive. This gave you a window into how maniacal Vader had become and how he would actually raise Luke if he knew he existed and if he actually got to be by his side. This is how Vader would mold Luke into becoming a Sith assassin or a Sith Lord, him and his son taking over the galaxy. And this is reflected in Empire Strikes Back when Vader desperately wants Luke to join him and to overthrow the Emperor. So bring a Legends character back into canon. This has always been great, never failed. Our third point, Sam Witwer coming back as Galen Marek. Again, no downside to this whatsoever. Sam Witwer is a Star Wars genius, is a Star Wars maniac, as we've seen countless times. That dude deserves to be in Star Wars, in the Star Wars Hall of Fame. Whether he comes back as Maul, we've discussed in a video that I want Maul to be back in this new universe where everything is being jumbled up with the Avengers of Star Wars and Maul going up against Luke. A Grandmaster Luke would just be beautiful, but imagine him coming back as Starkiller, the original Sam Witwer that we first saw introduced into Star Wars media was through Force Unleashed. Before that, he was only a voice-over character, with voicing many characters, including, of course, Maul in the Clone Wars. Around that same time, through the Clone Wars, the Force Unleashed was unleashed as well to the fans, and Sam Witwer has just been a legend ever since. He hasn't taken a step back at all, and just like Ahmed Best, just like we pleaded with Disney and Lucasfilm to bring Ahmed Best back, to forget all that controversy with Jar Jar and everything. And now Ahmed Best loves, and the fans love Ahmed Best. Everybody's in concurrence that Ahmed Best needs to be in Star Wars, whether as Keller and Beck or as Jar Jar, we don't care. We just want Ahmed Best into Star Wars, and I think the same sentiment is present for Sam Witwer too. It will always be there. So Disney, listen to the fans. It's just that simple. Alright, so in this Starkiller TV series, Vader, of course, is the main antagonist. Now, I'm not saying copy the video games beat by beat. This would suggest that many fans would know what happens, but the main elements should be there because of the Vader connection. Starkiller doesn't exist without Vader, and Vader has that side that would never be shown without Starkiller. So they both kind of coexist. But this way, we would get the best out of two worlds. We would love to see Starkiller evolve as a character in this TV show, but at the same time, we get more Vader, and that's never been a loss for Star Wars. The guy literally saved Rogue One. Rogue One was a good movie, not a great movie. That was probably because Disney kind of panicked. We saw with Andor, when they let them free, Andor was a great series. That's how it was supposed to be. The movie was supposed to be. But in the end, we saw that Vader scene, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, it was amazing, and it still lives on to this day. That's because fans crave more Darth Vader. Darth Vader, as the antagonist of this show, he is a quiet antagonist. He doesn't hunt down Galen Marek from the jump. It's a process. As we see episode by episode, Vader gets frustrated more and more with Galen Marek as he slips through his fingers and joins the Jedi, and this is how the series evolves into the finale, which should be amazing. So, let's go through our next talking point. Season 1 ends with a Starkiller Vader duel, and the rebels in the end help him escape. Now, what can I say about this? This is the ending of The Force Unleashed 1. Of course, Vader has plot armor, so Starkiller cannot defeat Vader outright, but he perhaps gets him down, or it's a fair fight. But of course, in the end, Vader comes back, and before he gets the final blow on Starkiller, kills him, the rebels intervene. It doesn't have to be Jedi Master Yoda. It could be some other Jedi, surviving Jedi, that could, connect with the existing canon, with the existing universe, and they save Starkiller at the very ending with an explosion perhaps that distracts Vader, and they extract Galen Marek in the process. The post-credit scene is Palpatine meeting with Vader, and Vader realizes at that moment that Palpatine knows, and now they are hatching their plan for the rebellion. The post-credit scene just gives us a hint of what's to come for Season 2, and this is why we know that in the end, it connects with Andor, because in the Andor series, as I said in the beginning, they are counting on people mobilizing against the Empire for a creation of a rebellion that now the Empire has an excuse to squash and use all of its resources. My next point is games are an inspiration, but the stories may vary in canon. So you don't have to go beat by beat everything that happens in the video games. They can have the elements that are there, the core story, but with a few twists here and there, and you can really evolve Starkiller even more out of those video games into a fleshed out character that Sam Witwer can just act his behind off, and we can have a great show that way, with connecting with the present canon. Lastly, I would love for Season 2 to feature The Force Unleashed 2 ending, which is just epic. Palpatine kills Galen Marek with Vader watching. The rebellion is officially started by the Empire. That's how it's supposed to go down. This is why a Starkiller show is so important. It just would be phenomenal if everything goes that way, because it shows the genius of Palpatine, how he manipulated the galaxy not only once but twice, and it would go a long way into connecting the original trilogy too. Everything would just be enriched by this story, I feel like. So I would love to know what you guys think. Do you concur with me that we absolutely need a Starkiller show, and these talking points come from a genius mind, which is my mind, of course. So if you like it, subscribe, and I will know that I'm a genius, and I will continue these videos. So thank you guys so much. I'll talk to you soon.